Okay, today we're gonna get into one of the most maddening things pretty much anyone can go through. Doing everything you're supposed to do to lose weight, and your body just won't budge. If that sounds like you, then you're in the right place.
Does this feel a little too familiar? You've counted every single calorie, you're hitting your step goals, you've tried all the diets, keto, fasting, you name it, and still, crickets. The scale just stares back at you. It really can feel like you're in this battle with your own body. But what if the problem was never about your effort?
This one sentence from functional dietitian Danielle Degroot is really our jumping off point today. For so many people, hearing this is like a huge weight lifted. It's permission to finally think, hey, maybe the reason this isn't working has nothing to do with my willpower and everything to do with what's happening under the hood.
So, to really get this new way of thinking, we have to first talk about the old model. The one that's made so many of us feel like we're just failing over and over again. This really lays out the two completely different ways of looking at this. So, on one side, you have that conventional idea. Weight loss is just math. Calories in, calories out. And if it's not adding up, well, you must not be trying hard enough. But on the other side, you have this root cause view, and it says, no. The resistance you feel isn't a moral failing, it's a biological SOS signal that something much deeper is going on.
And that something deeper? Well, that brings us right to the heart of the matter, a body that is fundamentally under stress.
This is such a critical, game-changing point. I mean, think about it. Evolutionarily, your body's #1 prime directive is to keep you alive, period. So when it senses any kind of threat or chronic stress, its priorities totally shift. Fat loss, that gets kicked way down the to-do list because hanging on to energy is a survival tactic. Your body isn't trying to sabotage your Beachbody goals, it's trying to protect you.
So what kind of stress are we even talking about here? This is so much more than just having a tough week at work. We're talking about these hidden internal stressors, things like an overload of toxins from our environment, a chaotic gut microbiome, hormonal havoc from the stress hormone cortisol, or just that constant low-grade inflammation humming in the background. These are the signals that tell your body, hey, red alert, hunker down in survival mode.
And this leads to this awesome concept called metabolic intelligence. You know, we're always told we have a slow or broken metabolism, but that's just the wrong way to frame it. Your body is being incredibly smart. It's intelligently pumping the brakes to conserve resources so it can deal with what it thinks is a much bigger threat. It's a sophisticated defense mechanism. It's a feature, not a bug.
Let's just take one concrete example, cortisol. When you are chronically stressed out, that elevated cortisol does more than just make you want to eat a pint of ice cream. It literally sends biochemical text messages to your fat cells, especially the ones around your midsection, and tells them to grow and store more fat. And this can happen completely separate from your diet. That's pure biology, you know, not a lack of discipline.
Okay, so once you grasp that, it really leads to a huge paradigm shift in how we even think about health itself.
For decades, we've used weight and BMI as our main yardsticks for health, right? But that number on the scale can be so misleading. A way more accurate picture of what's going on comes from looking at your metabolic health markers. Things like how your body handles blood sugar, your insulin levels, inflammation. These are the real predictors of your long-term health. And check this out. This stat really drives the point home. About 30% of adults who have a quote-unquote normal BMI are actually metabolically unhealthy. They have the same exact risks for things like heart disease and diabetes as someone who is visibly overweight. It just goes to show the scale doesn't tell you the whole story, not even close.
All right, so if the scale isn't the goal and calories aren't the main problem, how in the world do you actually fix this?
Well, it all starts with finding the root cause.
The functional approach is basically like being a detective for your own body. It doesn't just hand you a generic diet plan. It starts with a deep dive, with comprehensive lab tests to look at your hormones, your gut, your inflammation levels, and from that data, you connect the dots and figure out what your specific stressors are. And then, and only then, you build a plan to fix that. And the cool part? The weight loss just follows. It becomes a happy side effect of getting truly healthy from the inside out. So this is the real takeaway. It's about a fundamental shift in the question we're asking. We stop asking, how can I force my body into submission with more and more restriction? And instead, we start asking this much kinder, much smarter question. What does my body need to feel safe, to feel supported, and to feel healthy enough to finally let go of these defenses? And all of this brings us to our final, and maybe the most important, reframe of all.
If you are someone who has been fighting this battle for years, I really want you to let this one sink in. The frustration, the plateaus, that feeling of failure, it was never ever about you not trying hard enough. It was never a reflection of your character.
It was just biology doing what biology is designed to do. It was responding to internal stress signals that you couldn't see on a bathroom scale or in a calorie counting app. Your body was having a perfectly logical conversation that you just didn't have the translation for. Yet.
So we'll leave you with this thought to chew on. What if you just completely shifted your focus away from restriction, away from punishment, and instead you made it your #1 goal to help your body feel safe, nourished, and supported? What do you think might change if you started working with your biology instead of constantly fighting against it?
I stopped trying to find a doctor who would listen, and I did this instead. For years, I was doing everything right. Eating clean, exercising, getting 8 hours of sleep, but I was still exhausted. I had constant brain fog, and my hormones felt completely out of whack. Every doctor told me my labs were normal, and it was probably just stress. I was about to give up until I found Holistic Health. It's a free AI wellness tool trained by functional medicine experts. I spent 5 minutes answering questions about everything: my symptoms, my sleep, my digestion, and it built me this. And this was the light bulb moment. It didn't just give me a list of problems, it connected the dots. It showed me how my gut health was likely impacting my hormones and how that was causing the fatigue and the brain fog. It even gave me a clear list of potential root causes, supplements to research, and even the specific lab tests to ask for. Its tip is secure, over 77,000 people have used it, and it's 100% free to get your blueprint. If you feel like you're not being heard, start here. Understand your body first and then decide your next step.